So if you really look at it right, the V8s that Dodge made, those V8s made Dodge popular. But the V6s that they came out with is what kept Dodge afloat thus far. V6 sales always outsell the V8s. And I know we've been giving Dodge a lot of flack for what they are doing for the future, what direction they are going. But I think there is a small chance that Dodge can come out on the other side of this just fine. I think they do have a chance here. At the end of the day, I know we talk down on Dodge and stuff like that. We truly want them to do well and keep going in the future, because if they keep going and they survive what's about to come up for them, there's a chance, if regulations allow it, that we can get the V8s back and things like that. But I just saw a picture online, and I think there is a small chance that Dodge can be all right in the future. So let's go ahead, let's drop the intro, and let's talk about what's going on. Today's video is brought to you by CarLock, the world's best GPS tracking and alert system. With CarLock, you'll be able to get various alerts to monitor your car, such as vehicle movement, vehicle vibrations, engine starting. The unfortunate event that your CarLock gets disconnected, you will get an alert for that too. You can purchase your own CarLock by clicking on the link down below. That will give you a 10% discount on your CarLock purchase, as well as use my code to get a 14-day free trial with CarLock as well. Get you a CarLock, you deserve that peace of mind. Let's get into the video. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank y'all so much for tuning in on this particular video. If you're new to the channel, we do a lot of car related things on this particular channel, so make sure you subscribe for everything that we have going on. And for those of you that have already subscribed to the channel, I want to appreciate y'all for doing so, but we will not hold you too long. Let's go ahead and get into this video. So you see the title and you see the thumbnail, so we know this whole direction Dodge is going in. Everybody's been saying they're dead in the water, they're not going to survive, and what have you. I looked at this picture that was shown on there. It's in the thumbnail of the mock-up of a 4-door Charger, and I feel like there is a chance that they could survive long enough, you know, past how long we think they are. I mean, granted, some other things have to go right for them, but there is a chance here. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. As of me recording this video right now, we are almost a week away that we will actually get to see this new Dodge Charger, the 2025 Dodge Charger, get unveiled here finally. Nothing for 2024, it looks like. Well, they do got some plans for stuff after this year, but it's just gonna take them some time. But we're gonna know exactly what this car has to offer. Hopefully we know some prices and more that they've been telling us for the last couple of years about this car. But besides all that, just looking at this render of a 4-door Charger, I think there is a chance that Dodge can survive and do well despite what everyone is saying. Let me say this though, I'm not changing my thoughts on a couple of things here. First off, yes, I love the V8s. Both of the Dodges I've owned, they've only been V8s. I get that. I mean, I'm only one person out of many that buy these cars. But a couple of things we really can't ignore. Out of total sales, V8s aren't the majority of the sales. More than likely when we talk about new cars, right? When you go to these dealership stock V6s. Depending on your dealership, you may not find an RT, you may not find a Scatpack, you may not find a Hellcat, you may not find a redeye, but you will for sure find a V6. People say they see these cars all the time. They're more than likely a V6s. I drive a decent amount, and I rarely see another Scatpack. I rarely see another widebody Scatpack. I rarely see a Hellcat. Guaranteed I will see another V6. I will see a V6 Charger. I will see a V6 Challenger almost all the time. Daily, I will see that. I can probably count on one hand how many Scatpacks and Hellcats that I've seen in the last week just driving my car around. So, I mean, the numbers show that the V6s are the cars that Dodge will sell, new or used, whatever, right? Definitely new, right? People are going to gravitate towards the V6s because of price, and it's more practical than anything that they have. Those of us that buy like the V8s, you know, the Scatpacks, Hellcats, and the RTs as well, we bought the V8s in those particular trims because not only because of the way they look, but we like the sound they give us, we like the performance that they give us, we like the overall feel for these particular cars. The people that get the V6s, those are the people that they like the look of the car, because that's the first thing you're going to see before you hear it, before you see how it drives. The look is the first thing that everyone sees. So you can get the V6 and it looks like a Hellcat, But you don't have to deal with hellcat insurance. You don't have to deal with hellcat gas efficiency. You don't have to deal with a lot of things that you have to deal with the hellcat with getting the V6. You got the car that looks almost identical, but you don't have to deal with all those other headaches that come with this particular car. Of course, you got to pay to play for sure, and that can be, and that's the same for any other manufacturer, from Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Honda, all that. Your top tier is going to be the one that looks the best and performs the best, but you can get the lower tier that's going to look pretty similar, not perform the same, but you're going to get pretty much the same looks out of that one. So I'm looking at this rendering of this 4-door Dodge Charger, right? The same Charger that we've been seeing like pictures of everywhere. We've been seeing only the 2-door version, but now we got a 4-door version that we can kind of look at. And it's pretty much just the same car, but rendered with 4 doors. Now, there's a couple of stances I'm not going to change here. Number one, I still am not a huge fan of the look of this car. The main issues I have with this car I've said this from day one, is that rear end part. It looks kind of awkward and weird. I say this though. If you compare this Dodge Charger to other Dodge Chargers that they made, it's hard to get used to or like this particular look. But if you compare this Dodge Charger versus other cars in its class for other manufacturers, if you compare it to other EVs, I think this is a good looking EV. It looks really good for an EV. Of course, we know that the EVs only be part of what they're coming out with. They are coming out with the ICE versions, the internal combustion engine versions, the V6 twin turbo, stuff like that. But I will say this when it comes to looks compared to the other Dodge Chargers. I put a poll, well, I not put a poll, I put a post in my community post maybe a couple of days ago, and I asked everybody kind of like, you know, what were their favorite Dodge Charger generations or years, right? And a lot of people like the older ones, some people like the 2014s, things like that. One thing I will say here, I remember when the 2015s first came out, I remember a lot of people didn't like the look of them. A lot of people did not like the look of those cars because they were so used to how the 2014s looked. That year, not that year, but that generation of the 2014s, they were so used to how those look. When they started 2015, they're like, I don't know about this. I'm not feeling this too much. And I also recall when I keep saying 2014 because it was the last kind of year of that particular look. Like the whole 2014 look. Like when those first came out, I remember when that body style first came out, I remember people didn't like it a lot because that was the first year they had the whole single tail light thing, right? Before that, they had the tail lights where it was the separated tail lights and what have you. But then they came out with that look. It had the tail light that goes all the way across, and a lot of people, it was kind of like, I don't know about that. I would say when I first saw it, I was kind of like, I don't know, like those tail lights like a spaceship or something. I was kind of turned off about it at first, but the more and more I saw it, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing now. I see what they're doing with this particular look. So with something new, it takes time to get used to. I'm not going all the way in and saying I love the look of this car or anything like that. I can probably give a better assessment of how I feel about the car when I see it in person and seeing people actually mod it and things like that, then that'd be a whole separate conversation. But like I've been saying here, I think there is a sliver of hope for this car working. When it comes to these particular cars, I know people have been begging and crying and saying they need a two-door charger. There's a small percentage of people that want two-door chargers. Most people that actually buy these cars, people that buy the cars, buy the four-door, and the four-door sales kill two-door sales every single time. If the Challenger sold just as much as the Charger, if the sales were pretty much equal between the Challenger and Charger, Dodge would have jumped out there and probably made a two-door Charger sooner. But they don't even touch each other. They're not even close when it comes to sales. So there's no reason for Dodge to even consider doing a two-door Charger here. My thought process behind this is that if Dodge is going to release this two-door version of the Charger first, they really got to quickly follow that up with a four-door version. The two-door version will not sell as well because, number one, with it being an EV, EVs typically don't sell as well as the V6s. So hopefully, if they're going to release the two-door, they'll release the V6 version of it as well, kind of immediately afterwards. Hopefully, they do that. Hopefully, that's their plan. People don't buy, EV cars as much as internal combustion cars, right? On top of that, people don't buy two-door cars as often as they buy four-door cars. So there's two factors working against this car initially. However, if you make it a four-door, and this render here looks pretty decent for a four-door, you up your chances for it being successful. And they have to be successful for them to have anything else come out after that. I think there is maybe a small window of chance where they could bring back V8. Maybe not, definitely not next year or the year after. I think maybe give it 4 or 5 years, possibly we could see a V8 return. But all that depends on their sales for what they have with the V6s and EVs. More so the V6s, because more people are going to buy the V6s, so they need the best chance that they could get to be successful, and the V6 is going to offer that. More specifically, the V6 Chargers is going to be what is going to help this brand move forward. I know that's going to be weird to say with a whole brand that's been centered around muscle cars and V8s and all this type of stuff. And I will predict this right now, and I'm pretty sure this is exactly what's going to happen. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. When this car comes out as a EV or electric vehicle or whatever, initially when it comes out, it's not going to sell well at all, period. Number one, it's the first generation EV car from Dodge, so there's going to be issues. Number two, it's an EV car that people really don't buy as much of as well. I mean, across the board with other manufacturers, EVs are having trouble selling. I mean, Ford came out with their EV Mustang, and they are right now slashing prices on it because they can't move it. They slashing prices like tremendously on that Mach-E Mustang. So this car isn't going to sell well initially because of it being EV. So when those numbers come out for the first year sales for that, they're going to look bad. 100% they're going to look bad for those specific reasons. Now, I almost can promise when they do the 4-door V6 version of that particular car, sales should definitely increase a good bit when that comes out. And the whole storyline is going to be, oh, well, people are not ready for EV. We already know that people don't want to go EVs. They don't want to buy EVs. There's a whole bunch of things that need to be kind of worked out for EVs to be something that's going to be sufficient for the mass majority of people that's going to buy these cars. But the V6 sales will do pretty well when compared to the EV. So with this being a 4-door car that eventually coming out at some point, Dodge does have plans to drop a 4-door version of this car. Like I said, if they drop it when it looks exactly like this, I mean, I already stated kind of what I like about it, what I don't like about it. I think overall it looks okay for what it is. Just the main thing is just like I have a couple issues I have with the rear end of the car. And like I said, I gotta see it in person to fully, give a good assessment of how I feel about this particular car. But we will see this next week, and hopefully they answer all the questions that we want to hear answered in this reveal. I don't think they set a time as to when they're going to reveal it. I'm not sure if they're going to do like a whole extravagant reveal, like a reveal of this particular car, like how they do with the Demons and the other cars that they usually come out with, or they're just going to drop something on Instagram and just let it be that. But knowing Dodge, they gotta do it. They gotta do a whole presentation about this car. They have to. There's too many questions out there about what this car is, how much it's gonna cost, when it's gonna go on production, what's gonna separate this car from other EVs on the market. There's so much stuff that they can talk about. So hopefully they do a whole reveal and presentation with this particular car. I don't foresee it changing as far as the looks as much as, I mean, pretty much the car solidified here. We've seen it rolling around. I don't think the looks are going to change at all, if any. Maybe small things here and there, but most of the same. But that's going to wrap up my video for today, man. Like I said, the main thing is that the V6s can help carry Dodge going forward. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with that particular thing. That we want the V8s back. That is true. I'm one of those. I want the V8s. I love the V8s and things of that nature. Because if you're going to get a V6 or what have you, a twin turbo V6, there are a lot of manufacturers that offer twin turbo V6s that are more than likely be lighter than this car, and if you're looking at performance, will probably outperform the car. But if this car is lighter, then we might have something to work with here. But in order for us to get back to the V8s and things like that, if there's a chance that government regulations could relax, they have to get through these next few years, and this V6 is going to be the main thing I think is going to help them bridge that gap from now until then, if it becomes a reality later on down the line. Quick thing here, if they do come out with V8s, or they're able to come back out with V8s, I don't foresee them coming out with a new one. They might just take one of their current ones and redesign that one, but we'll see what position Dodge is at that point. But let me know your thoughts here. How do you feel about this car being a 4-door? Seeing somewhat of an idea of what it could look like. What are your thoughts on the car? Have they changed? Have they not changed? Let me know in the comments below if you made it this far in the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Do a lot of car related things on this particular channel. We will catch you on the next video. We're out. Cut it.